Footprint without feet NCERT 10th English. Eager to get away from crowded London, he took a train to a village of Ipin, where he booked 2 rooms at the local inn. Griffin is very eager to get away from crowded London. He took a train to the village of the Ipin. He want to go for that the village of the Ipins, and where he booked 2 rooms at the local inn. There were one local inn, and there he booked at the 2 rooms. For that intention, he want to run away from that the crowded London. He just want to that the you safe in that the village. The arrival of stranger at an inn in winter was in any case an unusual event. A stranger of such uncommon appearance set all tongue a-waving. Mrs. Hall, the landlord's wife, made every effort to be friendly, but Griffin had no desire to talk and told her, "My reason for coming to Epping is a desire for the solitude. I do not wish to be disturbed in my work. Besides, an accident has affected my face." Their landlord and his wife become very happy because it is the happen that is a traveler is take the rest in our uh, in a rarely in a winter season, because arrive the stranger at inn in a winter was any case of the unusual event. This is an unusual event for them, that's why they are become very happy. A stranger of such an uncommon appearance sit as the tongue a wavings. That is a stranger as such a uncommon appearance sit all of the tongue the wavings. Mrs. Hall, then the landlord wife, made every effort to be a friendly, but Griffin is the opposite. Then Griffin had don't want to take any friendly relationship with them. Griffin had no desire to talk and told her, "My reason for coming to Epping is a desire for the solitude." My reason is coming to Eppins. It is a different reasons are there, so you don't disturb to me. That is a desire for the solitudes. I do not wish to be disturbed in my work, and it is my wish to you don't disturb to me. Then beside, an accident has affected my face, and due to that the accident, my all face is covered with that the bandage, and it is affected on my the face. Satisfied that her guest was an eccentric scientist, and in view of the fact that he had paid her in advance, Mrs. Hall was prepared to excuse his strange habit and irritable temper. But the stolen money did not last long, and presently Griffin had to admit that he had no more ready cash. He pretended, however, that he was expecting a check to arrive at any moment. He satisfied here her guest was an eccentric scientist. Eccentric scientist means a person of unconventional behavior, and his scientist is a behavior is a inconvenience. It is not a common man's behavior like. And in a view of the fact that he had paid her in a advance, then another side she think about it, he paid in advance, so we don't care about it. That Mrs. Hall was prepared to excuse his strange habit and irritable temper. Then after that, Mrs. Hall, she observed his behavior. Then she thought that he is not a good person because his behavior like the different. But the stolen money did not last long, and presently Griffin had to admit that he had no more ready cash. Now after that, Griffin has no any more cash, but she he pretended, however, pretended means not a genius. Then, however, not he was expecting a check to arrive at any moment. When that the Mrs. Hall demand about that the remaining amount, then he promised to Mrs. Hall, "It is my expected check is arrived at any moment. Then I will be give to you. I will be paid to you." Shortly afterwards, a curious episode occurred. Very early in the morning, a clergyman had his wife were awakened by a noise in the study. Creeping downstairs, they heard the click of the money being taken from the clergyman's desk. Without making any noise and with a poker grasped firmly in his hand, the clergyman flung open the door and surrendered. Shortly afterwards, a curious episode occurred. Very early in the morning, a clergyman means those who are working at the church, and his wife were awakened by the noise in the study. Then, then the creeping downstairs, they heard a clinks of the money being taken from the clergyman's desk. Now there, from that the clergyman's desk, it is a money is taken from without making any noise and with the poker grasped firmly in his hand. That is the money is taken from the without making the noise and the poker grasped with the firmly in his the hand. The clergyman flung open the door and surrendered. Then, to his amazement, he realized that the room appeared to be empty. He had and his wife looked under the desk and behind the curtains and even up the chimney. There wasn't a sign of the anybody's. 8. The desk had been opened and the housekeeping money was missing. Extraordinary affairs, the clergyman kept saying for the rest of the day. But it was not extraordinary as the behavior of the Mrs. Hall's furniture a little later that the morning. Into his amazement means a feeling of a great surprise or a wonder. He realized that the room appeared to be empty. That is, the room appeared to be the empty. And this is the feeling of the great surprise as the wonder. He and his wife looked under the desk and behind the curtain. He and his wife look under the desk as well as the behind of the curtain and even up the chimneys. Chimneys, even up the chimney. Chimney means a smokestack. Then there wasn't a sight of the nobody and they realized there were no one. Then at the desk had been open and the housekeeping money was missing. The desk is open that and housekeeping money was not missing. Extraordinary affairs, that is the extraordinary affairs, the clergyman kept saying for the rest of the day, but it was not an extraordinary as the behavior of Mrs. Hall's the furniture at the little later that the morning. The landlord and his wife were up very early and were the surprised to see the scientist door wide open. Usually it was shut and looked, and he was furious if anyone entered his room. Opportunity seemed too good to be missed. They peeped around the door, saw nobody, and decided to investigate. The bedclothes were colder and showing that the scientist must have been up for some time. And stranger still, the clothes and the bandages that he always wore were lying about the room. The landlord and his wife were up very early and were the surprised to see the scientist door wide open that the both landlord and his wife is become very surprised and how it's possible is the door was open
Unusually, it was the shut the locked, and always that the door was shut and locked, and he was furious if anyone entered his room. Then they become very furious, and that intention they want to say. If anyone enter his room, the opportunity unfortunately seemed too good to be missed. They unfortunately they enter and they saw it is a too good to be missed. They peeped around the door and saw the nobodies. They peeped in at the door, but there were no one, and decided to investigate. Then the bedclothes were colder. Then they investigate. On that time, the bedcloth was were that cold, and showing that the scientist must have been up for some time. Then, and stranger still, then the cloth and the bed bandages that he always wore were laying about that the room, which they bandage that the clothes is always wear that the room, laying that the room.